Hi everyone, Lilith here. Currently, the most popular video, or at least the most viewed video on my channel, is the one explaining the RBY SU metagame. For those of you who don't know what that is, I explained it in that video, but basically it's a tier below 0 used, it's sub-zero used. And there were a few new developments in the tier, so I wanted to make a quick video going over them. This is not like RBY SU where there are 25 new Pokemon, it's just some slight changes. The first I want to go over is what you see on screen right now, a new viability ranking. Overall, not a whole lot has changed. I think the biggest takeaway is, well, first I should explain, the tiers are alphabetical rather than being sorted internally. So Weezing is not necessarily worse than Ponyta and Ivysaur, for example. But anyway, the biggest change from the previous VR to this one is Hitmonlee going from barely still in the tier in B2. Oh, the cutoff for IU, which is the tier below it, has changed. Sorry about all these tangents. Anyway, Hitmonlee has gone from B2 or B- all the way to A-. Basically, what happened was we were just really undervaluing it. It's got high jump kick, which is the only good fighting move in all of Gen 1, and it's pretty good into Lickitung and Clefairy and Rhyhorn. Plus, its attack stat is just really high. It's base 120, which means even without stab, Hitmonlee's Body Slam is stronger than Lickitung's Body Slam when they're both unboosted. And of course, base 87 speed is insane. Only 4 Pokemon speed it, which are Voltorb, Ponyta, Golbat, and Meowth. So overall, we just really underrated Hitmonlee in the past VR, and now it's rated much higher. Another notable change is the drops of Sandshrew, Gloom, and Voltorb. Sandshrew went from A2 all the way down to B. The reason for this is, I don't know, it's just less good in the meta. People like Wartortle more, and just Rhyhorn being so much more dominant than everything else, whereas previously it was it was the best Pokemon, but it was barely above Weezing. Now it's just a definitive number 1, which means, Sandshrew just has a hard time. Double Ground is a harder playstyle to work with Wartortle being more popular, basically. Voltorb's downfall came from people finally realizing that it sucked. Just in a tier where Rhyhorn is on every team, literally every team, being an electric type, and not just an electric type that has no way of dealing with ground types, it barely has a way to deal with electrics or grass. It doesn't even get double edge, legitimately. Your normal attacks are takedown, tackle, swift, and explosion. That is truly terrible. And its explosion is not strong enough to guarantee a one-hit KO on Weedle. So basically, all it has going for it is that you lead with it, the opponent will immediately switch in their Rhyhorn, so you can switch in your Ivysaur, and then that forces Rhyhorn out, and you get a free Sleep Powder. But, Ivysaur is bulky enough to take a hit. You're basically going 6v5 for a 75% chance to force the opponent to go 6v5, when you could do that most likely just by having an Ivysaur. And finally, speaking of Ivysaur, it's just better than Gloom, so Gloom drops. All the other changes are just minor shifts from the tier being 3 subdivisions instead of 2, or just slightly different orderings, so I won't go too in depth with it. What I will go in depth with is some unbans. When I made my first video on this tier, Confused Ray and the combination of agility plus partial trapping moves were both banned. That is no longer the case for either of them. The agility partial trapping ban, that was a pretty non-controversial removal. Like, I'm not even sure why it was banned in the first place. The only Pokemon that actually have that combination are Ponyta and Dratini. Dratini just does not have the stats to abuse it the way Dragonite does in UU, for example. Whereas Ponyta is basically faster than the whole tier without agility. So agility, main purpose on Ponyta is negating speed drop from paralysis, which just makes the Ponyta mirror match slightly less luck based, if anything. So honestly, it kind of makes the tier less uncompetitive overall, as funny as that is. Confuse Ray was a bit more controversial to unban. However, it was unbanned in a suspect 5-2, and the main reason it got unbanned was because it sucks. The tier is just way too bulky for Confuse Ray to be worth running. Like, Golbat can switch in on a Rhyhorn Rock Slide and then still win the matchup, which is a big deal. However, it needs to be near full health to do that. So you're risking a lot. You're risking getting hit by a pretty strong attack, like probably 85 base power Body Slam, 95 base power super effective Thunderbolt, something like that. And it's a 50% chance of getting hit by that on a Pokemon meant to be tanking hits or absorbing status, and that needs to preserve its HP when it can. And the payoff is getting your opponent to waste 1, maybe 2 turns doing small damage to themselves. The problem is you're also wasting a turn by using Confused Ray. So, like, it's a net negative in basically every scenario, and there are Pokemon like Weezing, Clefairy that are really common in the tier that just have the bulk and the longevity to just not care, and they are very threatening for Golbat to face. And when you have Confused Ray, you might be tempted to just think, oh, I can cheese this matchup, and then you get hit, and then you lose your Golbat, and then Rhyhorn destroys you. So overall, like, these strategies weren't that broken, and they got unbanned, basically. So that's basically all there is new in the tier. It isn't that massive of a change, but I thought I'd make a quick update just because it's nice to have a follow-up for when things change, especially on my most popular video. So, see you in the next one.